So I think in the last session we created the inventory organization, and from there we stopped, I think.
Yeah.
So what I will do is that, so
Mhm.
I'll probably start the configuration of procurement,
Okay.
and then at last I'll show this one because today we'll try to cover the procurement configuration, because for the inventory arc again that instance got refreshed. So this
Okay.
is another instance. So I'll have to create another set of configurations. So
Okay.
probably I'll create that and then we'll create the item before we start the procurement uh,
Transaction.
transactions.
Okay. Sure.
Yeah. So to start the procurement configurations, so first thing is that we'll have to enable this offering. Okay. So
Okay.
which this is the option where we will. So this is basically the testing environment. So we have almost all the modules that is enabled here. But
Okay.
then for the fresh environment, which will be a new implementation. So we will not have these things configured. So we'll have a plain instance wherein we'll have to first enable the offerings. For
Okay.
that, we'll have to select this option called feature options. So if we select it, so we will have to enable the licensed modules. So for instance, if we have licensed for procurement, let's say I am going to implement only the procurement part of it, and let's say finance is handled by the finance consultant. So now at my end, I'll enable this procurement, and also inside procurement we have certain functions, because as part of this latest update, Oracle will release a few features. So now if I want to use those features again, certain things comes with default and certain things that needs to be enabled at the future opt-in. Okay, so once it is enabled, and then of course we have set of few configurations. So once it is done, so then probably we can see the or check the transaction in the system. But primarily to use any feature, so this is the option. So this makes sure that we can do the configurations and we can do the setup, or we can do the transaction. Okay. So by default, we'll not have these options enabled. So
Mm-hmm.
we'll have to enable, if let's say I have enabled it for finance, so I'll have to enable each component of it so that I can use it. So let's say I don't have license for expense, then I will not use this. So similarly for procurement, if I do not have it for, let's say, one of the component, so I will not enable it. So others I'll enable. So this is completely based on the licensing. But the billing happens based on the role that is attached, because each role will give us access to certain functions or the features. So based on that, this billing will happen. Okay, so that's the thing. So this would be the first option that we will do. So once this is done, so then we can start with the procurement configurations. Okay. So
Okay.
which starts from the procurement agent. So procurement agent is nothing but individual who is responsible to purchase the materials, because it's not that everyone will have access. So we will have one person for an entity, so who will handle the procurement activities. Okay, so this person is called as a procurement agent. In EBS it is buyer. So it's just the term change that we have it here in Fusion. Okay, I'll just change this to procurement. Okay, so again for the procurement, so if we have a HCM module implemented, so we will have the employees created as users and the user logins from there. But if we do not have the HCM module implemented, and we are using only the HCM shared component, shared setup, so then we will have to use the same option, manage user, and then we will have to create those particular logins as the employee in the system, and then we'll have to create the procurement agent, then we will give the access to the particular module. Okay.
Okay.
So first thing is that I will basically create one user. Okay, so let me go to the manage user.
Okay.
Okay, so again for this I'll have to create the legal entity, ledger and all those things. So for now I'm taking US entity. Okay, so probably I'll just create the business unit and we'll take the ledger as US primary ledger.
Okay.
Okay, so I've just created this user, and the next step is to create the procurement agent. So let me go back to the procurement offering. Okay, so this is the place where we'll create the procurement agents. So first thing is the procurement business unit. So the procurement business unit, we created it as BPI business unit. So that's the same thing that I'm using here. And the agent name, again, we created something called BPA user. Okay, so that's the thing I'm using here. And for the default requisition business unit, I'm setting the same business unit. Okay, so but it's not mandatory that the same requisition business unit should be there for the procurement as well. So it could be different also. So the scenario when it will be different is that, let's say we are having centralized procurement team. So wherein the requisition is created from different business units, and then we will consolidate all those purchase orders, all the requisitions into one single purchase order, or based on the count we are consolidating and creating it as probably two or three purchase orders in bulk quantities. Okay. So in that case, we will have different requisition business unit and the different procurement BU. So that's the reason this is optional, but this will become mandatory for us. Okay.
Okay.
And these are certain functions that we will do. So for instance, if I want to create the purchase order, whether I'll be able to create it, or I can only view it, or I can only revise it. So all these are basically the controls for those transactions. Okay. And in terms of allowing this, let's say I don't want this user to create the supply, simply I can disable this option. So this user will not have option to create those supplies. Okay.
Okay.
So to this agent, I'm giving full access, which means this person will be in super user, wherein he can create the requisition, purchase order, agreement, all those transactions. Okay.
Okay.
So I'll just say save and close. And second thing is that, okay, again changed. Yeah, second thing is that we will have to create the payment terms. Okay, so payment terms primarily will include as part of supplier master loading part. Okay, but
Okay.
then if we wanted to select it as part of supplier master, again, we will need this master created. Okay, so this is the place where we'll create this. Okay, the procurement foundation. So now by default, we will have the immediate and 2 by 10, all those things, meaning 2% discount if it is paid within 10 days. Okay. So now to create the payment terms, so I can say new, and let's say 3% if paid within 15 days, 30-day. Okay. So I'm just saying this is from this date. So now here I can say 100% due. So if I want to add multiple percentage, let's say multiple installments that I'm giving, so I can give that as well. So
Okay.
let's say this is for the EMI. So I will not say it is 100%. So probably I'll split it into different periods. Let's say if it is 3 months no cost EMI. So I'll say it is 3 months, which means that this will come around 33.33 percentage. Okay, so this I can do it, and on a particular day I can give it, or I don't want to give a percentage, so I can give the amount. So if I'm giving amount, which means that it is the particular amount that will get due. So we should make sure that the whatever the order amount that we are booking, so that should be equivalent to this due amount which we are giving here. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
So in this case, I'm giving this as 100%. Okay. And yeah, fixed date is for EMI calculation, so probably we can say that. But in this case, I'm saying by days. So our scenario is that it should be 30 days to get matured. But if this particular supply, if we are paying, let's say in 15 days, so we wanted to get 3% discount. Okay, so I'm saying discount 3% if it is paid within 15 days. Okay. So now if this is, so let's say I am creating this purchase order on, let's say, 1st of January, and the due date is 30th of January, but then if I'm paying, let's say, 14th of January, I'll get 3% discount. So that's the thing. Okay. So once it is created, so we'll have to, so this will apply only for the newly created terms. So by default, this common set will be applied to all the existing, all the default rates. Okay. So since we are creating it for the first time, so we'll have to assign the reference data set here. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm selecting common. So probably if it is the custom reference data set that we have created, so for those cases, we will have to attach it here. And even if we are going to use the default, there we will have to add the reference data set to the list. Okay. So that is when we'll get it.
Okay.
So this is on the payment terms. So once the payment term is created,
So basically, this payment terms will be a very huge list, right, when you implement it.
correct, correct.
So generally, it will be data loader will use it, uh, right? Or how is it?
Yeah. So here, I think we have option of FBDA, but we did not have the requirement of using the FBDA, but I think we have this FBDA to be used in terms of loading this payment terms.
Okay.
I mean, almost most of the configuration or the most configurations. So
Mhm.
we have option to load it using FBDA, I think. So if not FBDA, so probably we can use option of import and export. So that is similar to the data loader.
Okay.
So, so there again we'll have to prepare the file in TXT, and that file again after populating data we will have to import it, and then we'll run the import job and get the payment terms imported.
Okay. So means that you will prepare the data loader, load it into the
Correct.
um,
So
server, and then import it. Okay.
okay, so I mean, unit of measures are the simple this thing that we have as part of inventory. We will define it. So I'll just explain here as well. Okay, so unit of measure is nothing but how we basically wanted to measure the item that we are selecting in the purchase order. Okay. So there could be a scenario wherein we will have multiple unit of measure. Okay, so there could be a scenario wherein we'll have the single unit of measure. So single unit of measure is a scenario wherein, let's say I am walking into a supermarket and purchasing an item. So let's say I'm purchasing uh, a pencil. So this will be in the unit of measure each. But then if I'm purchasing for a shop, so I'll not purchase in each. Instead, I'll purchase in bots. Okay. But probably certain cases we will have to break this item and then we will have to sell as well, because I will have offers also. But then if customer insists to probably purchase only one item or partially, so in this case I'll have to break the item and then sell the good whatever is requested. Okay, so in that case we will need this conversion that needs to be built if it is one bots. So what does this consist? So this conversion I'll have to give. Okay, so let's say I, I think bots it will be there. So let me see. I think I did not see. Yeah. Okay, so let me say bots means 12. Okay, so this is the conversion that I'm giving. So now what will happen is that, so when I create the item, so I'll say primary unit of measure and the secondary unit of measure. So in this case, the primary unit of measure would be bots, and the secondary unit of measure would be each are piece or single quantity, so that we can define it. So that would be the secondary unit of measure. But more than two, we will not be able to maintain. So it's the two level that we can maintain for creating the item or managing its unit of measure. Okay. So this is unit of measure, and then next option is to configure the procurement business unit. So I'll select the business unit that we created. Okay. So these are basically the control that we can place in terms of creating the purchase order. Okay. So first thing is that to default the payment terms. So we created one payment term. Okay. So that is the option that I am selecting here in this case. Okay. So I'll select the one I think we created with the name tree. Yeah, this is the one that we created. So I'll select this, and then the shipping method, freight terms, these are optional things. So probably if we want to use, we can use these things. Okay. So inventory organization, as I said, we will have to create it. So which I don't have it readily with me. So I'm taking 001 for now, and probably for the tomorrow's session. So before we create the transactions, so I'll create the inventory organizations. Okay.
Okay.
So there we will have our own inventory organization, and we will see the transaction using that. Okay.
Okay.
And the currency that I'm selecting is US dollar.
Mhm.
Okay. Yeah. Okay. So then the line type is nothing but how we wanted to basically determine the building process, which means that whether we wanted to have this line as two-way matching, three-way matching, or whether we wanted to specify whether this line is service or this line is goods. So all those controls that we can bring it using this particular option. So probably I'll show after this setup. So where we will configure the line type, but by default we will have the goods and services, all those things comes as part of standard. But apart from that, if we wanted to create our own naming convention line type, or to have this control at line type for any specific requirement, so which we can do it as a custom thing, and then we can attach it here. Okay, so here I'm attaching the standard one, that is goods. Okay, and then the conversion rate is nothing but for import. So if I'm importing it, of course I'll book the transaction in the foreign currency. It could be the INR or yen, whatever the currency it is. So I will need these the what do you call, the corporate rates or the daily rates that needs to be defined in the system. Okay, so which means that I will basically say on this particular date, this is the exchange rate between these two currencies, let's say USD to INR. So based on those defined currencies, so system will automatically generate those conversion rates. Okay, because whatever the transaction that we are entering, so that will go in transaction, but then the accounting transaction will look for the converted value in the functional currency. Okay, so that's the reason for this particular configuration or this master. So it's basically a master which we will use. Okay, and so these are basically in terms of file size. Okay, so it's not more than 5 MB, so I'm not changing this this value, so I'm just keeping same as it is, 5 MB. Okay, and then the reset close tolerance. So whether we wanted to set the reset close tolerance, meaning that when we basically invoice the received items, so the receipt will get closed automatically, or this particular purchase order status will say it's closed. But then if we wanted to basically close it manually, so let's say there are, so this when we will use is that so let's say I am purchasing an item which cannot be one quantity. It could be the point, let's say 1.234 or something like this. So now this point difference, I cannot take it into the system. So I'll say that I'll set the tolerance and I'll close those things manually. So that is when basically we'll use the reset close tolerance. Again, this depends on the customer's requirement, whether they wanted to have this reset close tolerance limit to be set. Okay, and then we can set the reset close point. So when do we want to say it's closed? So if it is two-way, probably we'll say once it is received, we'll say it's closed. If it is three-way, we'll say it is delivered. So when the delivery activity happens, so that is when we'll say reset is closed. Of course, if it is four-way, we'll say accepted, which means after inspection plan and all those things, we'll say it is closed. Okay. So similar to the receipt close tolerance, we have the invoice close tolerance also. Okay, so at what point we wanted to set it, it's the same option. Okay, and then matching, in terms of matching three documents, or whatever the count of document that we are referring here. So if it is two-way, it's nothing but matching the invoice document with the purchase order document. If it is three-way, we are matching purchase order, invoice, and receipt. For four-way, addition to that, we will also compare the inspected value also, value of the quantity. Okay, so that that is about the approval level, the match approval level. Okay, and then we have option to change the price. So basically, the pricing is again based on one is the costing parameter, and the second thing is that how do we set this, because let's say I have set it up as average costing. Okay, which means this price will be not based on the actual price but on the standard price. Instead, it will take the average price. Okay, so now how this is taken based on the previous purchases that I have made. Okay, so now instead I wanted to handle this pricing at the item level. So when we talk about the procurement, it is at the item level that we are talking about, because similar to order management, we don't have separate area where we can have the price list configured. Okay, so I'll set this item price at the item level. Okay, so that's the price that I'm going to use. Okay, so in that case, whether we are allowing to update the price manually. So even if it is the order is fulfilled, which means this order is completed and closed, whether we are allowing for the change. So usually we will not allow for the change. So probably in a rare scenario, so if business is asking for this change, so probably we'll have to enable this option to update the price of that particular order, fulfilled order, basically. Okay, and this is basically to default the promise date from the requested date. So if we don't enable this option, probably I will have to manually give both the promise date and the requested date. Okay, but when we have probably the supplier portal, so there are few scenarios that we will implement the supplier portal as well. So if we are implementing the supplier portal, then this promise date will be updated by the supplier. So it's only the requested date that we will enter. Okay, so in those cases, probably we can leave this option, and we will select only the requested date, and the promised date will be updated by the supplier in the supplier portal. Okay, and this is just to make sure that supplier hold is placed. So I'll just disable this option for now. Okay, and then this is to generate the requisition lines automatically. Okay, so if I want to use this option, so probably I can use it, because this is basically from so for this particular option or the feature, the flow would be I will have the requisition created. Okay, so based on the requisition, I'll create the negotiation created, and then based on the negotiation, I'll create the purchase order, and then the further process will follow. Okay, so that is the thing. So now if I want to enable that, so I must enable this feature. Okay, and this is nothing but bypassing the approval. So I mean, approval is set it up at BPM or inside this procurement. Okay, so now whether we wanted to bypass the approval automatically, so which means that when we override, so when we create the purchase order, we have option to override. So that is this option, whether I wanted to bypass approval automatically when submitting this order. Okay, so that is this option. And these are basically the communications. Again, this is one of the template that we have it in BPM work list. So wherein this can be set it up as FOA notifications. Okay, so that will have the information. So that's the standard template. So probably if we want to change the look and feel of the template, so again that will be in technical work. So technical will go to the BAP report area. So wherein they will change the template and then have the actual changed template. We are going to use that for the FOI notification. But then if we want to send those notifications, so we can enable these two options. So one is for the change order and the other one is for the agreement. Okay. And then this is for the sourcing. Okay, because in terms of creating the purchase agreement, so purchase agreement is a place where we set. So there are few scenarios wherein this purchase agreement is requested or required. Okay, so let's say I wanted to have control over the purchase that I am going to do. So of course we have the budgeting and the other things, but apart from that, inside the procurement, if I want to have control over the purchases that I'm making, so probably I can have the agreement created. So based on the agreement, I can create the purchase order. Okay, so that is one option. Okay, so in that case, I can add the sourcing to the purchase agreement. Okay. So, and apart from that, I can also add the contract. So, meaning it's not the actual contract that is happening between two parties, it is the terms and condition which I can just add it as a template. So, this is similar to the EBS, so we don't see much changes to this, but we have option to upload, and then we have option to mark the ratings and all those whatever we had in the EBS. So it's the same option that we have it here also. We'll see that in details, but the option is this. Okay. And then this is about the punch out. So punch out is nothing but uh, this is kind of an integration, so we can say, okay. So there is a middleware product which supports this. I think so. This is supplier. Uh, I forgot exactly the name of the integration. So probably let me check that. So using that particular middleware product, what we will do is that. So let's say we are integrating with Amazon, for example. Amazon or Flipkart. Okay. So in this case, what will happen is that so in the requisition screen, so we of course will have to define the categories and items, all those things. So there are certain configurations that we will know need to do. Okay. So once this is created, so what will happen is that system will take us to the e-commerce platform. It could be the Flipkart or the Amazon. So there basically we will have these items created, okay, and this item will be linked with whatever we are having there in the Amazon and Flipkart, okay. So from there the add cart option will enable us to select the items and then proceed with the next step, that is purchase order, okay. So that is the option of punch out, okay. So now let's say I don't want to have the requisitions created manually, but I wanted to use only this option of punch out. So punch out is this option wherein I'll select and then I'll add to the cart. So if I want to use only the punch outs, then I can enable this option. So which means it becomes mandatory to select the punch out requests only. Okay. And then this is again automatically adding the requisition lines to the agreement. Okay. So okay. And then this is to submit automatically, and then this is to group the requisition. So whether we want to group it by ship to location or to use it by the order number. Okay, so these are the few grouping options that we have. Okay, so similarly line level we have these two options, ship to and the requested date. Okay, so these are in terms of purchasing, and then we'll have the sourcing options as well. Okay, so these are basically the consignment terms. Okay, so this is simple and understandable. So how do we want to set our consignment terms, the aging and all those things? Okay, so when it comes to sourcing, it's basically how do we want to source it, whether it is using uh, RFQ or it is using RFI or RFP. So we know that it's quotation and this is information and this is proposal. Okay. So apart from that, we have option to use the auction as well. Okay, but the standard one is quotation because this is widely used, wherein we'll get the quotation and then we'll compare it. And so but it's not mandatory to use this sourcing option, but we have options. So probably if we want to have receive the quotation and then based on the quotation we will select the supplier, we will have the responses created, and then we'll request for the pricing, and we will say this is our price or this is our requirement. So supplier will quote their prices. So probably we will invite few suppliers as well. So those suppliers will say that these are the prices. So we'll look for the better specifications and the pricing, and based on that we can select the supplier, and then we can award uh, the purchase order to the supplier. Okay, so those are the part of sourcing. So if we want to use this, so probably we can default it here for this particular business unit. Okay, but this is optional because it's not that sourcing is mandatory, but if we want to use, probably we can enable this, and this will default the business unit. So that is this option. And then here I can enable if I want this negotiation template to be made mandatory. So I can have this created. Okay. And these are few indicators, because when we are creating this negotiation template, so we'll create this ranking and these options there. So that if we want to default it, so we can give it, but of course there we'll have our own templates created, but this is only to default it. Okay. And then whatever the sourcing transaction that we are creating, so that should be created in uh, order in the purchasing. Okay, so let's say I'm not going to use the purchasing, then I can say probably export using the web services, which means that this is not created in Oracle. So instead it will go to the another application. Okay. So this is just the option that we are giving to export using the web service. But then for this we will have to write a few integrations and send this particular data, whatever it is created here, to the third party system. Okay. And third party system should have the capability to receive the information and then process the purchase order and the next set of transactions in the system. Okay. So if we do not have that integration, so this is the standard option which I have seen, but we have option for this also. Okay. And then these are the controls in terms of approval. Okay, so I can just say initiate approval. Okay, and then this is to initiate the supplier communications, which means in terms of giving the responses or getting the responses. Okay, so that is this option, so which I can enable. Okay, and then this is nothing but weight and requirement. So these are basically part of the sourcing model. I mean, it's part of procurement, but sourcing is part of this. So we'll have that also covered. Okay. So we'll have this weights and all those, the scoring criteria, and then we'll have what do you call the responses capture, all those things. Okay. So I'll just enable this also, and automatically populate the responses to the predefined questions, which also I'll enable, because so in terms of questions, we will have basically the predefined questions, and apart from that, if we want to basically create the custom questions, so that also we can create it. Okay, so that is this option. Okay, and then there are option to have the blind negotiation. Okay, so if I want to display the rank of it, so for now I'm not enabling it, so because we'll see these things in the sourcing module. Okay, so for now I'll not enable these options. Okay, and then this is for the pricing. Okay, the start price, if I want to probably pick from the previous order, so I can enable this option, and these are basically the negotiation, award, and these approvals. Okay, so again these options I'll enable when it comes to the negotiation configuration that we do. So for now I'm just leaving these options as it is. I'm not enabling these features. Okay. Okay, and these are basically the URL to register the supplier. Okay, just as an option, we'll have this because to register, so creating the supplier will be two set of process. So one is to register the supplier and the other one is to basically create the supplier in the system. So registering the supplier, so we will have option of approval and those rules that can be written. Okay, but this is nothing but uh, the supplier creation URL for the registration purpose. Okay, so which we can use it here. Okay, so this is the thing, and then if you see here we have something called document type. Okay, so this document type is nothing but the kind of transaction or the nature of transaction that we are doing. Okay, so for that basically we'll create the document type. So these are the standard ones that we have. So for example, if we take uh, the purchase order, so for which we will have the document type as purchase order layout and then the contract term layout. So these are the standard ones that we will have. So if I want to change the layout, so this is for the print option I'm talking about. So if I want to change the layout, so probably I'll have to change it using that BIP option again. Okay. So similarly for the other kind or the nature of transaction as well. Okay. So this would be the first set of setup that we will do. So that is procurement business function. Okay.
So this layouts is then done into BIP, right?
Yeah, correct. So these are standard ones. So apart from that, if we want to customize it, so we'll have to do it using the BIP. Okay.
Mhm.
Okay, fine. So I'll just say save and close. Okay, so the next setup is configuring the requisition business function. Okay, okay. So similar to the procurement business function, so we have it for the requisition business function as well. Okay, so wherein few are in terms of control and few are in terms of defaulting at the requisition screen. Okay, so first thing would be the default deliver to organization. So deliver to organization again. This I will have to set it up for the defaulting. Okay, I think I selected the organization name. One minute. Let me give the access. 1 minute. Mm, Legal entities different. I think this is having different combination. So Give me a minute. I'm not sure why this is not.
Okay.
Okay, so and that's what the link is missing. So that's why we couldn't get this organization name. So because we did not have the inventory organization created, so that was the issue. Okay, so I mean I did not create the organization, so I have just taken one organization, the existing one, and I just attached our business unit. Okay, okay. So then so these are defaulting options. So if I want to probably say if it is, let's say this is in service industry. So whether so let's take an example of ERP implementation. So they are basically raising this request for ERP product to be installed, or let's say Tally, procurement of Tally. Okay. So now this accounting package comes with certain price. So I will select this as a service. So this I'll do it when I am creating this requisition. Okay, but then to default it, I can set it up here saying whether this would be the goods or the services. Okay, so which we can give it here. Okay, and then this is in terms of requisition grouping option. So how do we want to group it? Whether it is based on the category or based on the item. So if it is one item, so then whether we wanted to group it as this particular item, let's say there are same item so with different lines. So let's say one in two quantities and the other one in eight quantities. So based on item, it will of course group it as 10 items. So that is this grouping option. Okay. And then this is nothing but to add the address. So the one-time activity. So if we want to do it, so probably we'll have to enable this option. Okay. And this is to make the changes whether the approval is needed or not, because if I'm making any changes and I still don't need approval, I can leave this option as it is. But then if I need approval, so I'll have to enable this checkbox. Okay. And then this is nothing but to create the purchase order. So after importing the requisition, so we'll create this purchase order based on the requisition lines. Okay, so that is this option. Then this is, sorry, I'll just enable this. Yeah, so this option is nothing but for the lines that is modified. So whether we need approval or not. Okay. So, I mean, the difference between these two are is that so this is just the change that we are trying to make after approval, but this is in terms of the in progress items if we are making any changes. Okay, so those are the things, and then this is to override the approval. So let's say there are two managers. So one is on leave, so I wanted to initiate to the other manager. Okay, so which I can do it using this override option. Okay,
Okay.
and this is for the internal transfer, that is between one entity to other entity. Okay, so to supply the goods, so it's nothing but the internal transfer orders. Okay, so these are the additional fields that we can capture. Okay, so for now we don't have it. So probably if we want to capture it, so we can have it added to this list. Okay. So then this is nothing but in terms of grouping. So the default procurement view would be this one. Okay. So but then if we wanted to have it as a centralized, so as I said, so that we can determine. Okay. So for that, we'll have to do this shared relationship. This is nothing but shared setup that we'll have to do. So which will say that this would be the headquarters and the other two would be the units operating under this headquarters. So this units operating under headquarters will request for the items, and headquarters will basically initiate the procurement process. Okay. So, and these are the tolerances. So, it's just the understandable. It's in price change in percentage or amount. Okay. So, this is again the defaulting option. So, if I want to bring in the ship to location, so which I can say this is the ship to location as a default, it is going to populate. Okay. And then this is nothing but to cancel the order. So I mean, this I'm not changing it. I'm just having it as option. Okay. And then if there are multiple legal entities on the order, so of course this will have the status as error because we will not allow multiple legal entities because as we know this requisition is based on the legal entity. So this also I'm saying as it is. Okay. Yeah. And this is to this one UAM conversion. Okay. So
Okay.
this is about the business function of requisition. Okay. So mostly it's of the defaulting options and a few controls that we'll have. Controls in the sense whether we wanted to initiate the approval for these processes. Okay. So that's what. And this is again to default at the requisition business function. So apart from that, we can also set at the user preferences of for a particular user. Okay, so that is also possible, but this is to default. So if we want to, without preferences, if we want to default it, so then this would be the option. Okay, so I mean these are the requisition business functions. Okay.
So, one question I have
Yeah.
here is that related to deliver to organization, right? Say, for
Yeah.
example, if I am a preparer, right,
Okay. Uh,
and I submitted a requisition,
okay.
in that case, there will be a deliver to location if I have a preference that will take the precedence over this defaulting, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay. And let's say I'm preparing a requisition where there is I'm creating a behalf of someone, right?
Okay.
Say the requester, right?
Okay.
So
Okay.
the delivery to location will follow the preference and then the uh, requisition business function of the requester, isn't it?
No, it is, this business function is for this particular business unit. So if
Okay.
I'm selecting this is the business unit, then this would be the default delivered to this thing. But then if I want to change this and have it delivered to the different address, then I can have the preference set for that particular requester or the buyer, the procurement agent, and that will take precedence instead of this defaultation.
Okay, so basically it's a preference and then the procurement agent, right?
Yeah,
What is the default delivered to organization, right?
correct.
Okay. Procurement agent, we choose the default business unit, right?
Yeah. So
How
where
the
Yeah, so let's say I have two units, so I am kind of a super user, so I can select which are, because this is nothing but to populate the items. So whether I wanted to select the laptop or I wanted to select the furniture or the desktop, so that will be handled at the organization level. So at the
okay,
preference, so we are selecting the business unit, and this organization is linked with the business unit. So even in this case, we did not get this because we do not have linkage with this particular business unit. So
okay.
now, instead of unit one, if I'm saying my preference would be unit two, so
Mhm.
then instead of Amravati, so probably the other arc will take into
So
this thing.
basically here, generally we will attach the master org, and
Yeah,
then based on say, let's say in the preference I did not set it for defaulting. I can set it up something, but if I
correct.
want to change it to some other org, right? Um,
Yeah,
for that, because it is a master org, and if I have for that particular user, if I have, let's say, 4 5 business, what is that organization, I have the access, meaning that data access, right? If I
yeah,
have it, then I will have an option to choose it from the drop down box, right?
right.
I can make one as a default, whereas if it is in a master level, then I will able to choose it the different option, right?
Correct. Correct.
Okay, okay, okay. And if it is not set it as a master option, you will not get a default to change the organization, right?
Yeah, I mean, this would become mandatory for us to set.
Yeah, this only will be the mandatory, or if it is basically if it is a child org, right?
Yeah,
Okay,
correct.
got it.
Okay. Yeah. So just okay. So these are the configurations that we have done. Okay. Yeah. So these are the optional configurations that we have. So in terms of setting the hazard classes, UN number. So these are the standard ones that we have in the EBS as well. Okay. So this we'll see when we basically set the item. Okay. So we will be creating two items. One is non-hazard item and the other one is hazardous item. So hazard item, so when we are creating it, so we'll create the hazard class and then we'll assign this hazard class to the item. But that will not have any function or feature in terms of transaction. So it's the indication or the display purpose we are capturing this information. So if I want to take the item in terms of reporting, so wherein I can use it. But then in terms of feature, so we do not have much for this also. Okay. Yeah. So then we have the approval, and then we have the transaction uh, definition. So which is how do we want to generate the, what do you call, generate the account code combination. Either it could be the accrual account, or it could be the charge account, or it could be the variance account. Okay, so it's basically based on the rules that we'll write this. Okay, so before this, I'll complete this approval, and then probably I'll come to this rules part. Okay. So first thing here is, I mean, in terms of approval, even though it is two different screens, so options will not change because the option part is simple. So when we'll have the condition, if this condition matches, whether we wanted to approve it automatically, or we wanted to use a specific scenario wherein if this is created by so and so user, and if this is the business unit, and if this is the item category, then to follow this particular approval process we can set it up. Or probably if we have a complex scenario, so that also we can do it. Okay, so but there are certain limitations as well in terms of achieving the requirements. So let's say I wanted to do this approval. So based on the department level manager, so in that case, we will not be able to go through the entire cycle using the supervisory. So in that case, manually we will have to set it up as an approval group, and using the approval group, we will have to send the notification. Okay, so that is what it is. And then in terms of because that is the standard requirement in terms of approval. For instance, if I want to, let's say, initiate this approval process for the procurement, so the common requirement would be this this notification should be first sent to the person who requested for this item. Okay, so even though the item or the request comes from the procurement agent, so business wants to have this communicated. So what we will do is that, so we will create one FYI notification, and then we'll have this configured in the system based on the buyer or the procurement agent. So the approval starts from there, and then it comes to the procurement manager one, and then the procurement manager two, and then it will go to the finance. Okay, so this is the common requirement that I have seen basically. So this for this we will say that this is the approval group that we are going to use. But the thing is that if we are using the approval group, we will have the, what do you call, the maintenance issue will be there in terms of when there is a change in manager. So it's not only the update at the HCM or the employee master. So it is also at the approval levels. So we'll have to change the managers manually. So we'll have to remove the old employee and add the new employee. Okay. So here we'll have the maintenance activity also involved. So which will specifically say to the business, and it's based on the their call to take it up. Okay. So that's what. Okay, so now to create one approval, so I'll just say add. I'll just give this. So probably I'll just create one for auto approve, and other one for using the approval groups. Okay, so I have just given name as auto approve, and I'll give the condition. I'll say add condition. And here if you see, so there are a lot of attributes that we will have. So whether we wanted to take it based on the buyer, or based on the business unit, or based on the amount, or based on the item category, are based on the deliver to location. So deliver to location also we have seen, because if this is the location, then this should be the first manager who should get the notification. So that also we have seen. So that is also possible. Okay. And let's say if this is in smaller implementation, then it would be based on the destination type, because there will be a few managers who want to see this transaction and provide the approval. Okay. So basically, these are the attributes that we will have. So it is, so dimension is nothing but at what level we wanted to have it, either at the header level, distribution, or line level. Okay, but we have almost all the fields that we can take. Okay, because one such requirement that I can say is that if let's say there is a budget that is enabled. Okay, so budget we have enabled at the business unit level. So now when this budget fails, so I wanted to send this notification to finance team before I proceed with the approval of the purchase order. Okay, so for that what we did is that, so we said that we will have this set it up as a fun check, failure or warning. So when the system sees this status as failure or warning, so this sends the notification to the manager. Okay, so that is one such option that we can do. And then in terms of initiating the approval to the actual person, so we will set this up as uh, when the status is yes, the fund check is not failed. So which means that we will say no, which means that the fund check is passed. So then routed to this approval. Okay, so we have written this. Okay, so this is one of the case that we have seen. And then apart from that, if I am capturing additional information, and based on that information, if I want to probably get that approval initiated, so that is also possible. And then the intended use, and these are basically the tax components. So usually will not have this attribute to be used for the PO approval, but then if there is a requirement to initiate, so let's say if this is says soon, so if it is yes, then I wanted to route it to the different manager, then I can use this option to enable the approval. We have these many options, but based on the requirement we can set it up. Yes, this is the option. Okay. So for now, what I'm saying is that I'm saying based on the line amount. Okay. So I'm not going to create more than one line. So I'm just creating one line and saying that this is my purchase order or the requisition. Okay. So that's the reason I'm selecting line amount. Else we'll select the header amount. Okay. So for now, I'll say if it is 100, or let's say 1000. If it is lesser than, yeah, less than, I'll say less than or equal to. Okay, so if it is less than or equal to, I'll say 1000. I mean, this is very simple rule that I'm writing. So probably the next one will try to write using the business unit and the item category. Okay. So here I can select. So basically these are the options that I have. So for job level and the position hierarchy, of course, I will need the HCM module implemented, because this position hierarchy, similar to the EBS, we do not have option in procurement. So we will have to take this configuration from this thing, what do you call, the HCM module, because that is where we have tree. So I mean, tree is nothing but the hierarchy, or the position hierarchy is what meant as tree. So they call it as position tree and position tree versions. Okay, so version is nothing but the child value, and tree is nothing but the parent value. Okay, so now this position hierarchy must be created there. Okay, it's a simple process. So the term is node. So node is nothing but the value, meaning employee one, employee two, employee three. So this is what is referred as node. Okay. So now once this position hierarchy is set there, so probably we can use that here. So based on the position or based on the job level, we can do this. But if we do not have the HCM module implemented, then we'll not be able to use the job or the position hierarchy. Okay. So what we can use is that either we can use the supervisory hierarchy, or we can use the approval group, or we can use the single approval. So supervisory hierarchy is nothing but if you remember, we saw this manage user. So wherein to this particular manage user, so we saw that this manager will have uh, this manager will have a parent manager as someone else. So let's say there is a manager called A and manager B. So now manager B is reporting to A, and then we have the person C, so who's the preparer. Okay. So now if I want to set this hierarchy, so I'll say manager B will be associated with the person C, and manager or the person A will be associated with the person B. Okay, so this is how we'll set the hierarchy. So now A will not have any manager. So that is the end point where we are saying more than this particular point, we will not have further managers to approve. Okay. So that is about the supervisory hierarchy. So single, of course, we know it's a single person. So this is the concept of maker and checker. So one person will create the transaction and the other person will approve it. Okay. So this is simple option that we have. And then we have the approval group. So approval group, we will not be able to create it inside this option. So we'll have to go to the BPM area. So BPM is a common screen where we can configure for all the modules. So except the procurement. Okay. Because for procurement we have the screen specifically, so we'll not be able to do it there. So it's only for the procurement we are doing it here. But then the approval group will be created again there. There in that particular area called BPM work area. Okay. So there we can configure the approval work group and we can attach that particular work group to this list. So yeah, so these are the options. So for now, I would say this is automatic. So FYI is what I meant as this option called information only, which means no action will be required, but the notification will go to that particular person, whoever we are mentioning it here. Okay. So this is similar to the approval needed, but then I can say whether the approval is actionable or non-actionable. Non-actionable is information and actionable is approval required. Okay, so for now I'll set this as automatic and I'll say okay. Okay.
So, Arun, two questions I have it.
Yeah.
First question is that this approval groups, right? We create in a BPM or we do it in we or we do it in procurement itself.
So, this will be created in BPM. We cannot create approval in procurement.
Okay, so when we create in a BPM, it is for a particular, for example, if I'm creating for a requisition, right? So
Okay.
requisition will have a different tasks, right?
Right.
So what are those tasks? If you can show me once.
I mean, task in the sense you're talking
What are
about.
the options? For example, you have a, I want to create a request. See, when I create a requisition, right? I can create a requisition, let's say requisition group, meaning that, um, let's say I'm creating an approval, right? So,
Okay.
and how the system will identify is that this request or approval group is for requisition.
Okay, so I mean that is based on the condition that we are creating here. So let's say I have 10 different item categories. Okay, so that is related to this particular business unit, let's say DPI business unit. Okay, So when I write rule, so what I'll say is that in the condition area, so I'll say if the business unit is BPI business unit and item category is, let's say, classic. So then have this approval
Business.
group
Okay, so what
created.
you are
So approval,
saying is that in a BPM, I can define n number of business group. It will be just a business group, the employee attached to it within that legal entity, and then if I want to use that business group within my approval for, let's say, for any of my approvals, right? Then I go and attach that approval group. Right? Is it what you're saying? Is it the
so
correct?
yeah, so approval group will not have linkages between the requisition or the transaction. So when it gets linked is that when we say that against this particular condition, so this is the approval group that I'm selecting because approval group is just like the master data I can say because this approval group I can it's not that I will be able to use only for the requisition. The same approval group I can use it for the procurement condition as well. So that is just like the master data that I'm creating. But if I want to say that if I'm creating this requisition from, let's say, BPA business unit, selecting this particular item or this particular amount, so this approval group is selected when this condition matches. So that
Got
is the linkage that we are setting up here. Other than that, approval group will not have linkages. This is the only place where we can link it.
Okay. And second question was you were talking about that financial thing, one of your requirement, right? A budget and all those things, right? So once the budget is this much, right? Let's say within the limit, let's say the budget allocated for a procurement for a particular department is, let's say 1 million, right?
Correct.
Now, if it is within 1 million, you are sending those things. So when you are talking about the budget, is it linked to a project, or how in a system or in your requirement, what was that budget is for?
Yeah, so
Or
in our case, yeah, so in our case, it is basically based on the project, but it is not necessary that we will have to link only with the project. We can do it without a project also, but in that project, we had the project module also implemented, which means that whatever the procurement that we are making, so that will be linked with that. So the budget that we are referring to here is the two budgets. So one is the project budget, which will be created in the project accounting module, and the second budget is the GL module level, so which will validate against this particular business unit and this account combination. So that is at the charge account level. So now if this is the amount and but this amount which we are setting up will be same at the project accounting module and also at the GL module. So if this is in sync and this condition is matching, meaning that this transaction amount has exceeded the budgeted amount, so then this fund check will fail. So here the condition that I will write is that if the fund check status is failed, because by default you will have the liquidate. Liquidate meaning that we have enough funds to process this purchase order. So if it is as failed, then I will say that route it to this particular approval group that is manager 1, 2, 3.
okay. So basically, it is first stage of approval where you are checking against your what is the budget and let's say project you are checking. First checklist is that your let's say project plus project or the budget in the GL, what is the budget, and within that budget whether this any equation which is getting created, right, for
Right.
that particular code combinations. Basically you are using the code combination to derive the fund allocated within that uh, yeah, budget is obviously you will have one debit, one credit, where you will have one leg where you will have the amount allocated, cash allocated for that, right? And you are
Right.
using that. against it, where you are saying it is at this budget, um, this is the amount, because the more you use it, that budget will get get consumed, right? So, and if it is, let's say, if 1 million now, it become now 10, 10,000, right? So because it is
Right.
10,000, if it is, and your requisition is, let's say, 15,000, then it exceeds the budget. So that's why you are saying it, fail it
Correct.
and don't proceed it. Is it
Correct.
what, right?
Correct. Correct.
So it's based on the code combination, and you check it. One more help I might need it, Arun, is that
Yeah.
this project, or the requirement might be more to do with it has a linkage with the project and all those things, right?
Correct.
Um, so I, I'm I'm not saying it is that you create a project and show me all those things, but you just, because you have that experience, and
Yeah.
good that you have that experience. You explain me that when project is allocated, how I know that it's all, you choose project task and then line, and it goes through, right? What I'm more interested in will be in that how the project, that when the requisition happens based on the projects, right? What are the
Right.
things that need to be in a consideration, right? When you did the requirement and when you implemented it.
Okay.
Okay. So that will be really helpful.
Yeah. Sure.
Yeah. Thank you.
Sure. I'll explain. So probably when we create the requisition, so that
Yes.
would be meaningful actually. So,
Yeah.
yeah,
So when you
I'll
create the
explain.
requisition, right, and when you create the purchase order, when are those point of triggers, right? For example,
Right.
what will happen, how the data flows, right? That
Right.
flow, when it happens to a purchasing, what kind of flow? When you do a receiving, how the costing happens, right? How the project costs versus this. I'm not saying that at this, you can just tell me how it goes through flow, if you can
Yeah. Yeah.
tell me
Understood.
that.
Yeah. Sure.
Thanks.
Sure. Okay. So so this is one simple condition that I have written. Okay. So the next one which I will take is that. So I'll. Okay. So before that, probably I'll create one requisition group. Okay. Which I think this not manage each task. So this is where we create the approval groups. Okay. So as I said, so this is just like the master data. So if you see, so this is the name and this is the manager. It's the simple option that we'll do. Okay. So I'll just create one approval. So probably I'll call it requisition approval. And so in this case, I'm just adding one user because I just created one user, but then it's the multiple user that we can attach. Okay. So just say search and I'll select this user and say okay. So now if I want to add second, so probably I can just click here and I can say add. Okay. And if I want to change user, so let's say from this employee, so this employee has resigned and the other employee has joined the company. So simply I can say edit and change the employee. Okay, so that's the thing. So I'll say save and I'll go back to the approval group and I'll say create new. I'll say approval rules. So here I'll say add condition. So first thing is I will try to get it. Okay, I think that we will have it at the purchase order. For the requisition, I don't think we'll have it. Let me search for amount. I think we'll have to use the same amount, the line level amount. So I'll just use the same attribute, that is line amount. Okay, so this would be more than greater than, sorry, greater than or equal to. So, okay, I'll say greater than only. So greater than 1000. If it is greater than 1000, this is the one. So I'll just add another condition. Let's say below, and I will add the business unit as well. Or let me add the deliver to organization. Okay. I think we had Amravati. Yeah, this is okay. So I just had two conditions. So one is the amount, and the other one is inventory organization. Okay. So I did not give the item category or the other condition. I just written a simple condition, but we do not have limitation to this. So any number of condition that we can add. Okay. So this I have added as an uncondition, but then if we wanted to have this as an or condition, so that also we can do it. Okay. So now I'll add the approval group. I'll just say add action, and here I'll say approval group. Okay, so I will add the one that we created. It is, I think, requisition group. I'm not sure if that got saved. This issue I'm getting it frequently in test environment. So this will not sync immediately actually. Let me try to log out and log in once.
And one more thing, Arun, before you log out, right? You
Yeah.
directly went into the BPM. How you went into it? If you can just one more time show me.
Yeah, yeah. So it's nothing but I 1 minute. Or no,
Just add any other group.
I'll just come back to this page. So if we go to this global search and If we look for manage task, so we'll have manage task configuration for procurement. So if we click this option, it will take us to the BPM worklist, and here we can click this option called approval group. And here we can select,
Okay.
or I mean, we can create. So that is this option. We'll try to log out and log in. That did not see. Okay, so I will just say this is, so I'm just adding the same condition. So I think, what is the Amaravati is the organization that we selected. So I'll just say okay, and this is the application, sorry, the approval group that we created. So I'll just say okay. And this is the simple one that I created, but this condition probably in real time will have most of it. So this will have the business unit, this will have the amount or the item categories. So different combinations that we'll create. So for each one of it, we'll define a different line of conditions, meaning line one will be with item and the other thing, and line two would be different thing. Or if we want to combine this combination, so that will become more controlled way of setting the approval, meaning that unless these conditions are met, the approval will not be initiated. So approval will be still pending with failed transaction. Okay. So that's all. So now we have set it up as uh, two levels. So one is auto approve so which will be below 1,000 rupees. So that's a simple rule that we have written. And the other one we have written is that, so if this is more than 1,000 and the arc is this, so this is the one that we have written. Okay.
And it follows the sequence, right? For example, first, and then it will go how you set the precedence. So, for
Uh,
example, here auto approve was is the last one, right? Or
uh,
it may be at random. Let's say if it is just 1,000, let's say this sequence is random, right? Which you
okay.
define. But when you create the equation, let's say you create a equation of $500, right?
Okay.
Automatically it will go and approve it, right? Because it
Correct.
says that it will not check the sequence. Okay.
Yeah, I mean, automatically it will get approved if it is 1,000. It will not check the second condition at all.
Okay. What I mean to say it is that it doesn't go by a sequence here, right? Which has been defined, right?
No, it will not go by sequence, because here, if you see, so we have only the priority, but then we do not have the sequential numbering also. So I can just say high priority, which means whatever the conditions that we have written at high, so that will be checked first, and then medium, and then low. So that is the sequence that we have.
Okay.
Okay. Yeah. So I'll just save this and apply. Okay. So the changes are deployed. So the same options that we have it for the purchasing document as well. Okay. So now for the purchase order, of course, we will create here. So one more thing is that for the agreement, if we wanted to create, so probably here we'll have to specify the document type. Okay, so that could be one of the conditions, so which we will have to write here. Okay, so let's say to this list, if I want to add a condition saying if this is document type, so I'll have to say the document type. We'll just say document type, and here I will say this is a blanket purchase order, or this is a contract purchase agreement. Okay, so this is basically I'll define. But apart from that, most of the attributes are similar. So, but more than that, we'll have more attributes here. So, for instance, there we do not have the header amount, but then here we have the header amount as well. And then there we do not have the accrue at receipt and all those things. So there, of course, we'll have the project related information, but not the receipt related information. Okay, so we have the accrue at receipt, this option, and then we have the charge account, and then the attributes, of course, we have it there as well. Okay.
Okay.
Yeah, so then the buyer. Okay, so buyer there it is optional, but here we'll have the buyer information also populated. Okay, so if we want to probably write based on the buyer, so that also we can do it here. Okay, and then we saw the change order details, right? So based on the change order, if we want to probably create the approval so that we can initiate. So this is the place we can set for the change order as well. Okay.
So
So
what you're
basically,
saying, sorry,
yeah,
sorry, one thing just there are document types. It will be either BPA or your contract contract agreement, right?
correct.
Uh, so if I don't choose the document type as two, right? It will be one. It will automatically implies that it is for a purchase order, right? Standard
Yeah,
purchase order, right?
correct. Purchase order. They do not consider it for the agreement or the contract.
Contract. How about negotiation? If I have to choose it, to that fall? for the negotiations also I have to choose it here for
Yeah, so for
negotiation.
negotiation also I'll have to specify this is for negotiation. So negotiation type and this thing we have. And for award also, so we have attributes for that. I think we have on
Okay, so basically, if it is other than standard purchase order or the purchase
yeah,
order, you have to mention the
yeah,
document style and then choose the attribute based on
correct. So this default option will work only for the purchase order. So other than that, whatever we wanted to set the approval, so we'll have to specifically say this is for this transaction.
that. Okay, got it. And one more thing, Arun, it just came in my mind. It is that, for example, the F, for your information, right? It will send
Right.
to the email, right?
Right.
So that document you said somewhere in the BIP we change the style. Right? Can you show me this that page where it is and how, I'm not saying that how they do it, but if you have that little bit of information around it, if you can show me that, that would be great.
Okay. So this would be the model, so which will have, I mean, I'm just taking the purchaser as an example, the document template.
Mhm.
So similarly, we will have it for agreement and the other thing, but I'm not sure where exactly the agreement is placed.
But
But
this is the place, right? Okay,
yeah,
got it.
correct. This is the place.
It's under the data model.
Yeah, so under the data model, we'll have these things. So here we'll have the template because on top of this template, they will have to write the query to pull the data and populate it. So they'll have the template. So this template is based on this data model, and this data set is primarily the key component in terms of getting the data in that particular way that we want to look at it.
Okay. So let's say Mm. How it works. So, for example, in Infusion, is that for your information, right? Let's say I want to send it to, as you said, for example, whoever is the requirement is such that whoever is the requester and his, let's say, his manager, it has to go, right?
Right.
How the system will, for first, if that is the requirement, right? Requester plus his manager. Do I need to first create a request group saying it is that okay, this is the requester and this is his manager, or how it will get picked, or is it just get picked based on the supervisor which has been assigned to him? Second
So,
thing is that how the email address will get picked to send that email communication or the
yeah,
notification, or notification, how the notification gets triggered.
yeah. So this is basically one option. I mean, this I cannot say there is a one place that we have all these controls. So it's from multiple places. So for instance, if I want to take the subject of that particular email notification, so that is from the BPM workplace. And then in terms of picking the email to which this needs to be sent, so this is basically picked from the manage user screen wherein we give this email address. So this email address is picked based on the name that we have given in the approval groups. So if I have given Raja as the user in the approval group, so this will look for the email address of this particular user and check for the email subject and all those things, and this template from this BPM, sorry, the BIP report area, and this template is sent to this particular email address based on these four configurations that we have done.
Okay. Uh, so, for example, if I want to, let's say this is one way to send it internally, right? So if I want to send it to the external, let's say the supplier, right, to the supplier contact person, right? So is it to the email address? How will we how that communication will go?
Yeah.
Is it based on the supplier side? Then there we in the communication we mention the email ID. From there it will pick and go, right? Is it
Yeah, so for supplier, again, if this supplier is using the supplier portal, which means that this person will have access to Oracle. So then I will capture the supplier's email address as part of onboarding. Okay, so if that is so, I can probably still use the same options, but instead of manage users, I'll get it from the user credentials. But let's say if the supplier is not using the supplier portal, but then we want to send this notification, then this will not be using the standard options that we have. Instead, we will have to go for the OIC. So OIC, we will have to write the trigger. So we have the template created here in this BAP report section. So once this template is created, so in the OIC, so we'll call this particular template and we'll attach it. So there we have option to specify the subject as well as the email address, the list of addresses that we can send. So that we call it as an bursting. Okay, so we'll have to send this as an bursting. So wherein this email address will be captured from the OIC integration. Okay, so this integration will basically send email to that particular suppliers. So whoever doesn't have the Oracle access.
Okay, got it. Basically, the Microsoft, you will choose Oracle testing and then Microsoft. Yeah, got it. From the different components, you choose it from your Oracle, and then you will choose at the target as Microsoft Exchange, and then based on the email address, what is in there, it will send it to the airport. Okay. So basically, if I have to have all those options, right, then it means that I have the only option to go with the pass, right? Because I need to create one layer within the OIC, and then only all these activities can happen, right?
Yes, correct.
And one more thing, just it reminds me that self-service procurement is also free here, or does it comes under the licensing?
Which one?
Self-service portal, right? So let's say I have 500 suppliers, right?
Okay.
And let's say 1,000 supplier sites, and then from different supplier sites, right? I have different users, right?
Right.
So does it licensed, or is it not
Yeah,
licensed?
it is licensed. So it's procurement self-service. So the self-service, I mean, the lower quantity would be 100 license. So we'll have to procure, if we are procuring the purchasing module, so which comes with that. Of course, the license for the self-service is different from the procurement, but that will be minimum 100. But then if we wanted to probably expand it to more than 100, so we'll have to pay for the additional license.
Okay, got it.
Okay. So for now, I have set it up for requisition since the approval options are same. So there is no change because it's just the condition and the approval option that we are giving. Okay. So what I will do is that, so first I'll create the requisition. Okay.
Mhm.
And then probably I'll come back to this option, that is purchasing document. Okay.
Okay.
So now for this, I will have to create this transaction account rule to populate the charge account and other things. Okay. So now, when we talk about the accounts to derive the charge accounts, so this we can create it by multiple ways, meaning that we can create by using the mapping set, add the condition to that, and then attach the condition set to the account rule. So this is one option. So if not directly, we can create the account rule, so wherein we can specify the conditions. Okay. So when do we go for directly creating at the account rules, and when do we go for mapping set is that? So let's say I am creating or deriving this accounts based on the item category. So now item category will not be 10 or 20. Of course, it will have probably at least 60, 70 categories in a RAS scenario, let's take. So now in this case, I will not be able to create all 50, 60 manually in the account rules. Okay. So now using this mapping set, this allows us to basically import the mapping sets. Okay. So I'll just open one and then I'll create one. Okay. So here, if you see, so I have option to import the mapping sets. So this is similar to the data loader, which I can use it here, which I cannot use it for the account rules. I can use it only for this option, what we call mapping set. So for account root, I'll not be able to use it. So that's the reason if the count is more, we'll go for mapping set. Okay.
Okay.
So probably I'll just create one new rule. I'll say charge account.
One more thing before we go into this, right, Arun. Obviously, Oracle will have some accounting rules, right? And then if we defining our custom rules, right, how we will say that, okay, use this rules for me, not the Oracle one. How we do that as well? When you do
Yeah.
that, you just keep that in mind.
Yeah, sure. So this is basically controlled at the ledger. So now when we define this transaction account definition, so this will be tagged with the ledger. So that
Okay.
is when system will understand that this is the rule that needs to be picked, and in this rule, if this is the condition, then this is the account that needs to be picked. So the linkage is basically the ledger.
Ledger. Okay, so meaning that if I have, let's say, 20 rules, right, defined, um, mapping set defined, and then I attach that to a ledger, right? So will it scan through all the 20? rules that is there, including standard one?
Yeah, 20 meaning, so we will have one transaction account definition and we will have one account rule. So under this account rule, I can have 20 or probably whatever the count that we want to have the mapping set. So there are 20 rules that will be associated with this particular account group, and this one account group will be attached to the definition, and this one definition will be attached to the ledger.
Okay, okay. So that's how it works, right? So if it is attached to that particular account definition is attached to that ledger, it will follow that
Correct.
thing. It obviously will have accrual, what you call
Correct.
accrual and your accrual charge account and then variance account, right? For this.
Correct.
And there is something which I think I was hearing something called destination also, right? So if you can explain that as well. I'm sure you will do that. So,
Right. We have that as well. Okay. So I'll just create one for charge account. Let's see amount. Okay, so for now, I'm just taking the product category. Okay, and then the chart of account is, I think this is the, yeah. So I'm just taking this based on the product category or the item category. So if this is the item category, then I wanted to generate this account combination for charge account. Okay.
okay.
I'll just take one account for now because we'll have to create the inventory arc and then this thing. So I'll take one account uh, item category for now.
And just one more question, it came in. You said something that it's a mapping set, right? And then you can import those. Let's say if you are defining multiple categories, let's say 60, 70s, that you can import it, right? That do we have a FBDI or it's a data loader we need to use it?
No, I mean data loader meaning exactly data loader we will not be able to use it
Okay.
because data loader will work for forms. But this
Okay.
is basically the ADF. So ADF will not be able to use this one. So we'll have to use the import and export option. So which will be again either the TXT file or the CSV file. So these are the two things that we can use. So even the FBDI, those are basically the CSV files that we can import it. But data loader will not be use it for Oracle Fusion.
Okay. So just TXT, right? And how you will know that which are the columns, how you do that?
Yeah, so that we have Oracle support references for each of the component. This
Okay.
similar to the data loader, but not exactly, meaning that one is that template will change, and the other thing is that so here we'll have the txt file wherein we'll just say tab and then give the other column and then the next column. So similarly, but same thing that we'll do there in the data loader as well. But only change is that this is in different format and the data loader is in different format, and of course the tools are different. But in terms of filling the data, I can say it's the same information that we are going to do here as
Okay, so for that, do we have a defined templates, or how will you know that, okay, for this, these are the columns I need it, or how will you do that?
well. So
How
that
the
is
mapping has been done?
so mapping is basically based on these fields. So
Okay.
either we wanted to get on the field one, and then I'll have to give a tab and then fill the data for this.
Okay.
And then if this is optional, I'll just leave blank and then I'll fill the next field. So that is how we'll fill the data.
Okay.
I think most of the things, the import process, something like this. So we will have Oracle note IDs, so we can follow that as well.
Okay.
Yeah. So let me just take some and then. So one more thing. So I mean, next we will see this category option also. So how to set up category. So before that, so in terms of setting up the transaction from definition rules or the mapping set, so we will need one category type as purchasing, because if we have inventory item or the production item, or let's say some different item classification, and if you want to write rules, so the rule will not work out if we do not have this purchasing. Let's say I am setting it up based on this product repository. So now if I give this as code, so this account will not be generated, because Oracle will look for this classification, that is purchasing. So if it is purchasing, then this code will work. So that is how basically this rule will work. Okay, so it's
Okay.
mandatory to have the catalog as purchasing.
Okay. So basically, only for purchasing catalog and the category that has been defined for that it will work.
Okay, so just give category and account is. Okay, so I'm just writing it for one item category, but we can add as much as needed. So similarly, I'll do it for accrual and variance as well. So optionally, we can select it for the value set as well, or the segment, which means that if I have 8 segments, probably I don't want to have this created for the entire combination. So I wanted to basically create it for only, let's say, brand and the product segment. So I can select the segment. So in case I have different chart of accounts created and I basically wanted to use this value set across the chart of account and I want to populate there. So in that case, I can go for the value set. So if it is one chart of account, so probably I can select the segment, and for that particular segment, I can write the rules.
Okay. It's either for a code combination or it's for a individual segments, right?
Correct. So for the uh, that is for the mapping set. So
Okay.
we have created it for the charge, and we have created it for accrual and the variance. Okay.
Okay.
So this similarly, probably I'll first create it for charge. So here we have multiple options. So if I want to basically use a constant account based on the conditions, so this we will use it either for the default option that we wanted to select, because it's not always that we'll have the combination values selected. So there could be a possibility that default value is also selected. So for instance, if we take uh, let's take example as an item that we are procuring. So let's assume that this is for the manufacturing process. Okay. So
Mhm.
now I cannot say this particular item goes for this this manufacturing process. So let's say I'm purchasing this coconut oil. Okay, so this coconut oil, I can have it as an storage, or I can have it used for, let's say, classic soaps. I can use this particular oil for let's say sandal soaps or other items as well. So now, if I want to exactly track this cost, so I will not be able to exactly say, because this particular raw material is not only used for this particular product, it is also used for other. So what I will do is that, so when I get this particular product, so I'll not specifically say it's against this costing, but instead this will be costed when this manufacturing process completes, and then this is coming out as an finished item. So that is when exactly I can identify against this particular product and against this particular brand, this particular combination is created. So unless I know that, I will not know. So when I purchase it or when I get this item invert result, so I will say that basically this is the default value that I'm selecting. So for those scenarios, I can probably use the constant, and I can just write the condition. If this is the category, then we wanted to use this. Okay. So
Okay.
for those scenarios, we can use this.
Okay.
Okay. And then the other option that we have is that source. So source primarily we will use if we have the project accounting implemented as part of this implementation. Okay. So
Mhm.
for instance, I wanted to take the project expenditure type and the project number. So based on the selection. So then what I will do is that, so I'll say, so this is basically the source, and the source would be from the project model. So if you say, let's say, uh, based on the cost, let's say the expenditure cost, or if I want to take the project cost or the project number, that I can take it. So those are the attributes that I will have. So if that is selected, which means that whatever there configured or listed in the project accounting module, so that I wanted to populate here as the condition. Okay. So whatever the account that is associated with that particular setup there in the project accounting, so that will get populated automatically. So that is the option of source.
Okay.
Uh, And then we have, what else we have? Yeah, then we have the mapping rules. Sorry, the account rule. So account rule is nothing but I have created another account rule which I want to call here, and this is the account rule that I wanted to pick it up so that I can use it. Okay. So in our case, we are using the mapping rule. Okay. So I am using PO charge account. Okay. So in this case, we are using one line, but then it's not limited to one, so we can add any number. Okay, so which constitutes one account rule. Okay, so since I have already given the condition there, I'm not adding condition again to this page. Okay, so I'll just save this.
So it is basically it is better to do add your condition on all those things in the mapping, right? If you have multiple conditions,
Yeah,
right? Create the mapping and then attach it to your
correct.
rule and then attach to your
Correct.
account derivation, right?
Yes. Okay. Yeah. So I'll just say save and close, and I'll create for approval.
And this accounting rule will be applicable both for requisition and purchase order, right?
Yeah, correct.
Okay.
So it is basically based on the condition what we have given.
So there is no any option, for example, there is a charge account which I want to only for requisition I want to pick at this charge account, right? Whereas for purchasing I want to pick at different charge accounts, right? Different conditions, right? That cannot be done, right?
I mean, that's what I meant as condition. So let's say, so that is possible actually. So let's say I wanted to have a separate account created for, let's say, uh, requisition. So now let's say requisition business unit is BPI business unit, and purchase order business unit is BPI HQ business unit. So
Okay.
now I wanted to generate, so I'm not writing the segment combination, sorry, I'm not writing uh, the account combination. Instead, I'm writing segment level combination. Okay. So now, in this case, segment combination, I do not have issue, but when it comes to account combination, so I might be capturing the location. So location is nothing but the place where I'm booking this transaction. So now the headquarters is put up in Chennai, but then the regional office is in Hyderabad. So now the requisition is from Hyderabad. So ideally, I wanted to get the location value as Hyderabad instead of having this as Chennai. Okay, so now the way that rule needs to be written for requisition is different from the purchase order. So for this, what I'll do is that I'll say the requisition business unit is BPI business unit, and I will write a second condition saying procurement business unit is BPI HQ business unit. Okay. So for both, I will have different account combination, meaning that only the only value that will get changed is the location value. So in this
Okay.
case, location would be Hyderabad for acquisition, and for purchase order, the location value would be Chennai. So it can have different rules for acquisition and the purchase order as well.
Okay. So basically, how you write it. Okay. So
Yeah,
basically, how you choose the combinations, right?
yeah,
When you
correct.
define the mapping, right?
Yeah, correct, correct. So it is based on the condition that how we have written the rules. Okay. Okay. Okay, so we have created the mapping set and we have created the account rules, and the last step is transaction account definition. Okay, so here what we will have to define is that one custom definition. I'm creating it because for the other one we already have it. So I'll say EPI that. Okay.
So if you have a multiple accounting definition for a same chart of account, how system will behave?
Multiple definition for chart of.
Yeah, yeah, meaning, sorry, transaction account definitions, right? So let's say I have two account definition for same chart of account. How system will behave? We should not have it first of all, right?
No, yeah, correct. So we will not have this because only one definition that we can attach with the ledger.
Okay.
So whatever the conditions are, whatever the combinations and whatever the requirements that we wanted to have, so all those things will be achieved either in the account rule or at the mapping set level. So beyond that, we will not have any scenario to create the multiple account definition, because the account definition will be always one to the chart of account.
Okay. Okay. Got it.
Probably if we have a scenario wherein we have different ledgers and one chart of account, so even then we will have this transaction account definition created for one ledger, and for another ledger probably if we want to create a second transaction account definition, so that we can do it, but for the same ledger we will not have multiple definition.
Okay, here we attach the chart of account, not the ledger, right? So, meaning that if I have multiple ledgers attached and that uses the same chart of account, it will follow the same account definitions, right? I
Yeah,
should, that will follow the, whatever the stat that we define it, it will across all the ledgers, right?
right, right.
So
Okay,
meaning that one, I have multiple business units. It has multiple ledgers, but it has same chart of account, meaning that across all those, it will have the same the defaulting rules, right? Meaning
yeah,
that how the charge
yeah,
account and all those things will
yeah.
default it.
Yeah. So again, this I'm not saying this is the only way, but if at all we wanted to have two different definitions, so this is the one possibility that I can think of, because if I want to have one definition for two ledgers, so that is also possible, because at the condition level I can say if this is the ledger then generate this combination, if this is the ledger generate this combination, so that also can be handled with one definition. But in terms of looking at two different definitions, so this is one possibility. If at all there is a complex requirement, we wanted to create two definition and attach it to two different ledgers. So that could be one possibility, that but not more than that.
Yeah, so basically what you are saying is that even on the procurement requisition business unit level, and then if I go a little bit up, even within the ledgers, if I have to have a different accounting possibility to fetch the data, that I will either do it in the mapping and then attach, create the rules for that one, and then one attach those two accounting definitions, right?
Right.
Got it.
Yeah. So we just attach the rule that we created. think weekly, weekly accrued charge, against charge. Just give me a moment.
Okay.
Yeah, sorry, stuck with the call. Yeah, so for now, the rules that I have written is basically for the charge account and yeah, charge account, variance, and accrual account. Okay, and then apart from that, we have basically the destination based charge account and the variance account. So accrual account, of course, we will have the same account. So if the destination is expense and we wanted to have a different charge account for the expenses, so we will have this account filled in. So the rule that we will write for this condition is that if the destination type is accrual, I mean, meaning not this accrual. So if the destination type is accrual, then we will have the material account populated. And if it is the regular expense account or the asset account, so because even if it is asset purchase that we are doing it, so that will be still considered as the expense purchase. Okay. So now, if this is the case, then we will write a condition saying that if the destination is expense, we will say these are the asset categories as a condition, and we will bring those asset accounts there. Okay, so probably I'll just save and close this, and then probably uh, we'll first create the requisition, and when we create the purchase order, we will need this destination, because for the requisition we will not have this destination as the primary thing to validate or generate the account code combination. Okay, so this I'll come back to this point when we create the purchase order transaction. So we'll have this tab opened again, and we'll see how the destination is configured for different destination. I mean, the same thing like the material purchase and the asset purchase as an example. Okay. So I'll just save and activate. So by default, this will be in incomplete status. So we will have to activate this. I think there are some errors. Okay, I think this is custom source, and custom source is not complete. Let me try to use probably different one. It is assigned, but is actually not assigned. Okay, so probably I'll do one thing. So I'll just take this option to create it because since it is custom source, so there is some issue with the assignment. So I can see it is assigned at the line level, but I'm not sure if
Okay.
they have used this one. So let me take the standard one. So I think the standard one would be something called Aura. I'll use that. Okay, this is I think there is issue with the custom one, so I'm just creating new one. Okay, so I'll
Okay.
just remove the older one which we created and we'll use this one. Okay, okay, okay.
Okay.
Variants. Okay, so let me take this one as well. So it rated as BPA approval and then BPA charge. Let me just check if all are assigned. Yeah. So this assignment is done. So I'll have to change here at the definition. I think this should be fine. Green error. No. I don't know, there is no error actually, but then still it's not allowing. Else I'll just try to create one new definition. It is similar. Okay, so let me check this because I don't see any issue in this. So
Okay.
earlier on, at least we had issue in the custom sources wherein they did not create the assignment, but this is not giving any error also, and there
Yeah.
is no way to debug this. I think I'll have to create a new setup only. So let me try to create, and probably
Today?
will, yeah.
Okay. So tomorrow, what time?